welcome back. We've made it this far. We've made it to the top 10 illustration rares in Scarlet and Violet Era so far. And this includes all the illustration rares from SV Basse Set, so SV1, all the way up through Twilight Masquerade, which is SV6. And it also includes the illustration rares from the two specialty sets we've had so far, 151 and Paldean Fates. Let's get started with number 10, which is from 151. No surprise, it's the Charmeleon. It is a fantastic card. The entire line is pretty epic and pays homage to one of the OG starter Pokemons, Charmander. Really well done. No objections there. However, I do have an objection to number 9, which is the Ghastly from Temporal Forces. Not going to lie, I don't think the execution on this card is great. It feels like they've just put a bunch of Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar in there, not to mention this little Meowth down here, and made it purple and hope that the star power and name power alone will get the job done. I also think it's kind of weird what Gengar's doing here with his tongue and the way Ghastly's looking back. This is not my card. Other people can have this one. And in fact, I don't think this one's going to stay in the top 10 very long. I think there's some other cards that are going to overtake it in the long term. But we'll see. I have been wrong before. Number 8, the Squirtle. Yeah, this card is absolutely epic. And of the 3 starter Pokemon, right, Squirtle, Charmander, Bulbasaur in the 151 set, I think this is the nicest one. It really, really pops in real life. It really, really shines in the binder. The lighting effects, the water effects, it's really cool. And the way that it works with the Wartortle and the Blastoise getting deeper into the water, I think is the best. Well, that and the Charizard as well. But those two are the best executed lines of the 3. This one is definitely going to stay in the top 10. A fantastic card. This Steelix, I'm so glad that this card cracked the top 10. I think it is one of the most beautiful cards that we have. And it's not, it's not one of the 151, right? It's not Onyx. So that's nice, and I'm glad that this card is getting the recognition that it deserves because it's so good at number 7. Number 6, again, no surprise, we've got the Charmander from 151. This one plus number 10, which was the not Charizard, Charmeleon, go really well together. One looking up, one looking down, both in the valley, getting bigger and bigger as they go up this little valley rock cliff. Really cool, really well executed, and this one of the 3 is really cute as well. So no objections here. Number 5, the Eevee. This is where we have our first big price hike as well, right? We're going from $26 all the way up to $43. So we're going up $17, almost $20. And quite frankly, I don't think this card is worth it for $43. I don't think it's going to stay a top 5 illustration rare in the long term. I think the colors are a little too muted, and I think it relies a little too much on there being a lot of Eevees in there, kind of like there being a lot of Ghastlys in the Ghastly card. Don't get me wrong, it's a great card. I'm just not convinced it's going to be top 10 moving forward, but it is what it is for now. Number 4, Raichu, Sleepy Raichu. It is a really cool card. Don't get me wrong. I think upside down, sleeping in the bed, little electricity bolt here, all the things on the side table. Pretty cool card, but for $43, I'm not going to lie, I was a little surprised when I saw this one as high as it is and as expensive as it is. I do think it's a great card. I don't know if it's the number 4 best illustration rare in Scarlet and Violet Era so far, and by best I mean most expensive, of course, but we'll see. This is also where we're going to see a trend where Paldea Evolved starts to really dominate. So we're on number 4, Paldea Evolved. If you can guess what number 3 is, let's see how good your knowledge is. It is another Paldea Evolved card. It's the Tyranitar, the T-Tar. This one's epic. This card is amazing. This card gives off Godzilla vibes super hard. We've got some really cool bird Pokemon in the background. Like he's kicking up dirt and rocks everywhere. Beautiful card, well deserving of a top 3 spot, as does its counterpart, number 2, if you can guess what it is, the Groudon. And when you look at these, they kind of look almost like the same, right? But they're also quite uniquely different in the color schemes, the backgrounds. I happen to prefer the Groudon. I think the blues and the reds and the oranges and the volcano and the lava is pretty epic. Not to mention, I think Groudon's looking even more menacing than the Tyranitar. This is also another price jump. We're going from 45 up to 60, and it wasn't long ago when I remember this card selling for around the $20, and I think I got mine around $20 months and months and months ago. So personally, I'm kind of happy to see that it has increased in value 2 times what I paid for it. But yeah, that's a shock. It has really jumped up in price, but well deserving. I do think this is the second best illustration rare that we've gotten so far, but it cannot beat, how do I want to say, number 1, our Magikarp. I don't think there's any surprises that this is going to be the best illustration rare in Scarlet and Violet Era so far. And it has cracked the $100 mark. It's at 109, which is crazy. Now, I ended up picking up mine for about 60 euros at the time. 67 with shipping. So I'm very stoked to see that my eye, right, my eye for picking out winners before they pop in price seems to be pretty good for a novice Pokemon collector, right? I've only been in the hobby for a year, but so far so good. And this is another card that, if you've seen my previous videos, you've seen I put the star next to it, and that's because I think this one still has room to move up. This is an epic card, really deserving of the #1 spot and the price point, and here's a few reasons why I think that. First, it's made by the same artist who made the Giratina V card from Lost Origin, and you can kind of tell that they've got the same dark vibes in the color schemes and the background. I want to say I prefer the Magikarp because I like the story that goes with it, of the Magikarp climbing up the waterfall and turning into the Gyarados up here that you have, and the power of determination and the story that comes with it. I think it's really beautiful and really well executed. But at the same time, the Giratina is amazing. So both are really cool. You'll also see the Giratina is about a $450 card right now, whereas the Magikarp's $100, and I get it, it's a different era. We're looking at Sword and Shield versus Scarlet Violet. We're looking at different pull rates. We're looking at, art rares, illustration rares. It's hard to compare the two, but I just wanted to point out that they are from the same artist, and they do have a similar kind of an art style. The Magikarp is also the most difficult illustration rare to pull in the Scarlet and Violet era so far. Of all the pull rates from Paldea Evolved are the most difficult, and a big part of that is because it has the most illustration rares in the set, right? It's got 36, and the next closest is Paradox Rift with 34, so it makes sense that it's a difficult one to pull. Still not as difficult as some of the Sword and Shield cards, I realize that, but it is not easy to get this card in a pack, and its gem rate is very low. There's been 3,000 and change Magikarp sent into PSA for grading. Those ones that are sent in are probably the best of the best to begin with. And of those, only 22.83% are getting PSA 10. So they're a difficult card to get in good quality. There were some manufacturing errors, like centering errors, print lines, damaged corners and edges, you name it. It's a difficult card to get in a 10. And I think that's another reason why it is getting this premium price. People are chasing the 10 and the earnings that you can get from it. Now, if there's a reprint in Paldea Evolved and the print quality goes up, this price could go down, and who knows, maybe even Groudon would be #1 on the list. But for the time being, I still think it's Magikarp or bust. Here's what they all look like in a 9-pocket binder with our Magikarp here as the standalone. The 10 cards in total add up to $422.55, which is $422.55, which is $42.26 per card. And as a breakdown, 3 of these cards are coming from the 151 set, 3 from Paldea Evolved, 2 from Paradox Rift, 1 from Temporal Forces, and 1 from Twilight Masquerade. And this actually makes sense, right? Because everyone thinks 151 is the best. Everyone's saying that Paldea Evolved is the next best. Paradox Rift is also a strong set. Temporal Forces, with its more difficult pull rates, is up there. I'm actually surprised there's only 1 Temporal Forces with the pull rates and the recency of the set, but it is what it is. Things can change. And Twilight Masquerade, a recent set, has 1 in there as well. And the sets that don't have any Scarlet and Violet Base, which I think is a pity. I think Scarlet and Violet Base set is a good set. Same with Obsidian Flames. There's only 12 illustration rares, so the pull rates are really low. It's easy to get all the cards, so there's probably a bigger population of them. But the illustration rares that they do have are really good. So I'm a little sad that there's no Obsidian Flame represented, and Paldean Fates. There's only 3. They're all worth like 10 cents each, so no surprises there. Now, here's the spicy take. My opinion is that these 6 cards with the check marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, will stand the test of time and have a strong chance of remaining in the top 10 as we move forward in the Scarlet and Violet era. However, these 4 I don't think are going to make the cut. I don't think Charmeleon is going to make it. It's a middle evolution line, and there's lots of competition around its price point, so that could change. The Ghastly, again, it's still new, and I don't think the card quality is enough to keep it in the top 10. The Eevee is still very new. I think the price is going to come down a bit, and I think other cards are going to overtake it and overshadow it. Same with the Raichu. I don't understand why it is as expensive as it is. It's a cool card, but I personally don't think it's gonna last the test of time. That's what I'm trying to say here. Now, I do have some cards that I think could crack the top 10. And the first one is this Pikachu. It's actually dangerously close to the top 10 to begin with, so this one's not really a surprise. It's a gorgeous card. There's so many Pokemon in it. It's from one of the most popular sets that has gotten so many people back into the hobby, the 151 set, and it's Pikachu. You can't fight against Pikachu. This Huixing Growlithe from Twilight Masquerade is another gorgeous card that I think could have its day. This card is so beautiful and could, in time, eventually, crack the top 10 as people realize how awesome it is. Now, I have a spicier take here as well, which is the Sprigatito from Paldea Evolved. You could also say the same thing for the Fuecoco card. I don't think the Quaxley, but certainly Sprigatito and Fuecoco, because they're the new starters in the Pokemon Horizons TV show. These are starter evolution lines that people are going to be following, kids are going to be following, and the demand for them over time could certainly increase, as these are their rookie card illustration rares. And they're beautiful too, right? This Sprigatito is absolutely gorgeous. People love cats. And the Fuecoco, also a very cool line. And I do have one kind of a wild card option, which has the question mark first, if you'll notice, which is the Ninetales from Obsidian Flames. This card is super beautiful. It's an OG 151 Pokemon, and I'm fighting for Obsidian Flames, basically. I think Obsidian Flames deserves its day, and I think of all of the illustration rares, the Ninetales has the best chance. The Gloom is also beautiful, but for some reason its price is so low, it'll never crack it. But this is my dark horse, so to speak, my Dark Ninetales for the win. And I want to know from you. Leave a comment below. Let me know what's the best illustration rare so far in Scarlet and Violet Era. And keep in mind, this video is from SV1 to SV6, so base set to Twilight Masquerade. I'd love to hear your comments below and engage with you this way. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.